The story begins with Heidi and her family boarding a yacht full of excitement as they head toward open waters far from the mainland.
T'es encore en train de manger ces conneries.
Mais laisse-moi tranquille, rends-moi ça.
Mange des fruits plutôt.
Vas-y, c'est bon là.
They originally just wanted a light-hearted, relaxing family vacation. During the day, the sea was as calm as a blue mirror, and the sunlight danced across the ripples. Everything looked almost unreal, like the beginning of something peaceful and serene. But no one expected this trip to turn into a bottomless nightmare. When night fell, the calm facade slowly disappeared. Heidi's daughter was on the deck video chatting with her boyfriend, casually sharing the scenery. But the very next second, an unusual rainbow-colored cloud appeared in the sky over his city, as if splashed with strange paint. Before either of them could react, thunder exploded and lightning struck non-stop. The screen filled with static, and the call abruptly disconnected. The girl thought it was just her boyfriend's internet acting up, but when she asked her father, she found out their yacht's communication devices had all failed at the same time. Her father, Jack, frowned, clearly realizing something was wrong. Everyone thought it was odd at first, but no one knew an even bigger anomaly was approaching. Suddenly, a deep, rhythmic rumbling came from beneath the water, like some massive creature moving below. Everyone rushed outside to check. With the dim deck lights, they witnessed something shocking. A huge group of whales was rushing in the same direction, but instead of heading toward deeper waters, they were swimming toward land, as if fleeing from something. Jack watched in silence, his instincts telling him this wasn't normal. He guessed a powerful storm might be coming, causing magnetic interference and throwing these giants off course. To confirm, he decided to dive down and check for any unknown obstacles around the yacht. But just seconds after he entered the water, something sharp scraped across his arm, cutting him deeply like a piece of metal. Fortunately, Heidi was a surgeon. She quickly cleaned the wound and stitched it up with practiced skill. But Jack's uneasiness grew stronger. Communication failure, whales fleeing, unknown metal under the sea. These weren't signs of normal weather. Something inexplicable was lurking in these waters. Things got worse when the family was still trying to fix the radio. The sky suddenly split with a piercing roar. They looked up and saw a massive fireball trailing flames as it fell from the sky, like a burning miniature sun. The heat wave it produced could be felt from tens of meters away. Jack instantly knew they were in danger and turned the yacht to avoid the impact zone. But before he could stabilize the direction, a second fireball crashed down. This one looked like the flaming wreckage of an aircraft plummeting into the sea. Heidi ordered everyone to close the doors and stay low in preparation for the impact. But as soon as the doors locked,
Mayday, this is Deep Help!
the yacht was pulled into a violent shockwave. The force tossed them around until they lost consciousness. When they finally woke up, the scene outside the cabin was completely beyond human understanding. The endless ocean had vanished without a trace. In its place lay a barren, lifeless land. The seafloor was exposed, carved with deep cracks, and even the wet sand dried rapidly under the sunlight. The only proof they were once at sea were the fish still flapping helplessly on the deck. Jack quickly grabbed the maps and compass to figure out where they had drifted. But the compass spun uncontrollably, refusing to point in any direction. Cut off from the outside world, the family had to face the most urgent question: survival. The yacht didn't have much food or fresh water, barely enough for a few days. Heidi and Jack needed to find a way to survive in this unfamiliar wasteland. Jack kept trying to fix the radio, hoping to reach any other survivors. The kids helped however they could, and the son even thought of sending a signal with a hydrogen balloon. But he didn't realize a signal could attract danger as easily as it could bring help. Finally, the radio picked up a faint signal from a researcher named Bella. He theorized that Earth's magnetic field had reversed, pulling the ocean's water toward inland regions and exposing the seabed temporarily. The phenomenon wouldn't last long. Once the magnetic field stabilized, the water would rush back to its original place. Hearing this, Jack realized staying put meant waiting to die. Bella said he had a submarine that could hold 3 people. Jack made the painful choice: send the kids there, even if he and Heidi had to sacrifice themselves. After resting overnight, the family packed a small amount of food and water and prepared to head toward Bella's coordinates. But just then, a man with a dog appeared in the distance. Anyone in the wasteland was a potential threat. But Jack still offered him a bottle of drinking water. Unexpectedly, the man used the bottle to strike Jack, then grabbed a handmade spear and stabbed him in the chest before Heidi could stop him. In that instant, all of their survival plans shattered into despair. Heidi was heartbroken, but she had no time to mourn. She had to protect her children. The attacker chased after them, forcing Heidi to hide in the yacht with the kids. But a yacht wasn't a fortress, and the man broke in quickly. Heidi stuffed the kids into a large crate and slipped out the bottom hatch herself, hoping to flank the attacker. But outside, she ran right into the man's vicious dog. In sheer desperation, she fought back, stabbing the animal. The smell of blood enraged the attacker, and he chased her out of the yacht. Heidi used the terrain to escape and hide, like prey hunted by a predator. She circled back toward the yacht, but the man ambushed her and struck her down. At that critical moment, the daughter burst out of the crate and fired a signal flare into the man's abdomen. The blast knocked him backward onto the deck, but the burning flare ignited the yacht. Flames spread rapidly, and Heidi only had time to grab a bag of water. The son cried uncontrollably, blaming himself for releasing the hydrogen balloon that may have lured the killer. But grief had no place in survival. The attacker wasn't dead, he staggered after them again. Heidi pulled the kids and ran with everything they had. Behind them, the burning yacht exploded violently. In that moment, they severed all ties with their past and wandered across the desolate seafloor. All day long, they traveled under the scorching sun. The attacker followed from afar like a ghost, never too close, never too far. Sometimes they spotted edible creatures, but they didn't dare stop.
Mais merde, Cassie, y en a plus.
C'est bon, j'ai pas fait exprès.
Mais comment on va faire sans eau, putain?
Ça va pas faire de différence, de toute façon, on va tous crever. Personne peut nous sauver.
Tu penses que ta putain de gourde, tais-toi!
By dusk, they finally found a small crashed plane on the dry seabed. There was no food inside, but at least it offered shelter for the night.
J'arrive pas à croire que je le verrai plus. J'ai l'impression de...
Heidi stayed awake, alert for danger. But danger still found them. In the middle of the night, the daughter went outside and saw a shadow moving. The attacker had followed them here. Heidi snapped, her long-held rage exploding. She tackled him from behind and stabbed him. Once, twice, again and again, until she was sure he was dead. The family finally had a brief moment of peace and collapsed into sleep. But the next morning, the attacker's body had been partially eaten by something unknown. Only mangled remains were left. A chill ran down Heidi's spine. A new threat was approaching. She immediately took the kids and continued moving. But the son, dehydrated, rushed to drink from a puddle. Heidi dragged him back, warning that the water could be salty, alkaline, or contaminated. But it was too late. He soon became weak. Heidi built a small shelter with debris and injected him with emergency medicine. They survived the night in exhaustion. Suddenly, Heidi awoke to chaotic sounds. Looking outside, she saw massive crab-like creatures racing across the ground, far larger and more violent than any real species. Fear froze her blood. She woke the kids and they sprinted away. After running for what felt like forever, they saw a damaged cargo ship with several people scavenging supplies. Heidi yelled for help, but the scavengers saw the creatures behind them and immediately locked themselves inside a container, abandoning Heidi's family outside. With no other choice, they climbed on top of the container. But the giant crabs slipped inside through the gaps. Gunshots, screams, and tearing sounds echoed from below. It was clear the people inside didn't survive. When the danger faded, Heidi fainted from exhaustion. When she woke, the kids had gathered supplies and found a walkie-talkie. She contacted Bella again. He too had been attacked by the crab swarm but survived. He fired a flare so she could locate him. Heidi and the kids climbed over a ridge and finally saw the submarine. But the path to it was a narrow canyon. Heidi told the kids to move quietly to avoid the creatures hiding in the shadows. Just as they neared the exit, rocks suddenly fell and separated Heidi from the children. Heidi was trapped below while they were above. She told them to go without her, but they refused to abandon their mother. When the daughter reached the submarine, she found Bella gravely injured and unlikely to survive. She rushed back just in time to see Heidi surrounded by the crabs. She shouted for Heidi to climb. Together, they pulled her up. The crab swarm closed in, and the family ran with the last of their strength. Bella used the remainder of his life to hold off the creatures, buying them time to reach the submarine. The hatch sealed just as Earth's magnetic field shifted again. A massive wall of water surged back into the ocean basin. The submarine was tossed violently, as if it were a toy. But eventually, everything grew calm. The submarine drifted to the edge of a devastated city. When they opened the hatch, they saw a world reshaped by catastrophe. They knew one thing: surviving was already a miracle, and their fight to live was far from over.